In the vast emptiness of space, the research vessel Celestial Explorer drifted silently through an uncharted planetary system. J1 stood at the main observation deck, his eyes scanning the endless darkness. The expedition had been routine, or so they thought, until the ship's sensors picked up an unusual energy signature from a distant, seemingly unremarkable planet. The rocky world looked dead at first glance. Barren landscapes stretched across its surface, broken only by massive geological formations that seemed too precise to be natural. Hanki, the youngest member of the research team, leaned forward at the scanning console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Commander," he called out, his voice trembling with excitement, "these formations, they're not random." J1 moved closer, studying the intricate patterns revealed by the advanced scanning technology. What appeared to be natural rock formations were actually carefully constructed structures. Geometric lines cut through the planetary surface with mathematical precision, too perfect to be the result of natural geological processes. The team prepared for planetary descent. Their protective suits hummed with advanced technology, designed to protect against unknown environmental challenges. As their landing craft touched down on the planet's surface, an eerie silence surrounded them. Dust kicked up around their landing site, revealing hints of something extraordinary buried beneath the seemingly mundane landscape. Sujin, the team's lead analyst, was the first to notice the strange metallic glints beneath the surface. What looked like random rocky outcroppings began to reveal themselves as something more, fragments of advanced technology carefully concealed by centuries of planetary dust and debris. Their first physical exploration revealed something remarkable. The ground beneath their feet was not entirely natural. Subtle grid-like patterns suggested an underlying infrastructure that predated any known civilization in the current galactic records. Each step revealed more carefully engineered surfaces that had somehow remained intact for what could be hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. Hyunki's scanning device began to pulse with increasing intensity. "The materials here," he whispered, "they're unlike anything in our database." His hands moved quickly, capturing every detail of the surrounding environment. Metal fragments that should have corroded centuries ago remained perfectly preserved, their surfaces showing minimal degradation. J1 understood they had stumbled upon something extraordinary. These weren't just ruins, they were a carefully preserved testament to an advanced civilization. The precision of the construction suggested not just intelligence, but a level of technological mastery that seemed almost impossible. As the team moved deeper into the site, the true scale of their discovery became apparent. What first appeared to be random rock formations were actually the remnants of massive infrastructure. Buried tunnels, perfectly aligned structural supports, and hints of advanced defensive systems emerged with each careful step. The most chilling discovery came when Sujin uncovered a partially preserved holographic interface. With careful manipulation, fragments of information began to materialize, images of beings that looked almost human, but enhanced beyond normal biological limitations. Muscular structures that suggested genetic modifications, technological implants seamlessly integrated into organic forms. They had found something more than an archaeological site. This was a window into a civilization that had pushed the boundaries of biological and technological evolution. The ruins whispered stories of warriors designed for impossible challenges, of a species that had transformed itself to survive in the most extreme conditions imaginable. J1 looked at his team. Their faces reflected a mixture of excitement, fear, and profound respect. Whatever civilization had created this site was no longer present, but its legacy remained, waiting to be understood. The planet held its secrets close, revealing just enough to spark their imagination, but holding back the full story. As the research team began their careful documentation, they knew they were standing at the threshold of a discovery that would change everything they understood about technological evolution and the potential of intelligent life. Night was falling on the mysterious planet, casting long shadows across the remarkable ruins. The Celestial Explorer waited above, ready to preserve and protect the incredible findings of this extraordinary day. The research team set up their primary analysis station inside a large chamber they had carefully excavated. Sujin's hands moved carefully over the recovered artifact, a metallic object no larger than a human palm, but radiating an energy that made everyone in the room feel uneasy. Hyunki configured the advanced scanning equipment, his breath catching each time the device revealed another layer of the mysterious object's complexity. The metal seemed to shift subtly under different light spectrums, suggesting materials far beyond current technological understanding. "Look at these molecular structures," Sujin muttered, projecting holographic images that showed intricate patterns unlike anything in their scientific records. The object appeared to be part of a larger biomechanical system, something designed to integrate directly with a living organism. Jaewon watched carefully. His years of experience told him this was more than just a technological relic. This was evidence of a civilization that had fundamentally reimagined the relationship between biological life and mechanical engineering. The team worked through the night. Specialized tools carefully extracted microscopic data fragments from the artifact. Each revelation brought more questions than answers. The technology suggested genetic modification techniques that could transform biological limitations, creating beings capable of surviving in environments that would kill ordinary life forms. Hyun-ki discovered something unexpected. Embedded within the artifact's molecular structure were complex data storage systems, not like traditional computer memory, but something more organic. It was as if the technology itself was alive, capable of adapting and storing information in ways they had never imagined. "Commander," he called out, "these data fragments, they're not just stored information. They're more like living memories." The implications were staggering. This wasn't just advanced technology. This was a form of technological life that blurred the lines between machine and organic being. The artifact seemed to pulse with a subtle energy, as if waiting to be fully understood. Sujin carefully extracted additional fragments, each revealing more about the civilization that had created this remarkable technology. Images began to form, glimpses of warriors with enhanced biological structures, technological implants that looked more like natural extensions of the body than artificial additions. The team worked with increasing excitement. They were no longer just archaeologists. They had become witnesses to a technological revolution that had occurred long before their own civilization had taken its first steps into space. As dawn broke on the mysterious planet, the artifact revealed its first complete story. It was part of a system designed to enhance human biological capabilities, a technological solution to survival in extreme environments. The creators had not just adapted to challenging conditions, they had fundamentally transformed themselves. Jaewon understood the profound nature of their discovery. This was more than a technological artifact. This was evidence of a species that had decided to take control of its own evolutionary path, using technology as a tool for biological transformation. The research team knew they were standing at the edge of a discovery that would rewrite everything they understood about technological evolution. Each carefully documented detail would challenge existing scientific understanding, opening new pathways of research and exploration. By midday, they had established a comprehensive scanning protocol. The artifact would be studied from every possible angle, its secrets slowly and carefully revealed. Hyun-ki had already begun creating three-dimensional molecular models, each representation more complex than the last. Sujin noticed something else. The artifact seemed to respond subtly to their scanning processes, almost as if it was participating in its own analysis. The lines between technological device and living system became increasingly blurred. As the research continued, a sense of anticipation filled the excavation chamber. They were not just uncovering history. They were engaging with a technology so advanced it seemed to challenge the very definitions of life and intelligence. The first breakthrough had been made. And it was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge everything they thought they knew about technological evolution and the potential of intelligent life. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing fragments of memories that seemed to pulse with raw intensity. Ji-hoon watched in silent awe as the first images materialized, scenes of human super soldiers training in environments that would kill ordinary beings. The recording showed warriors moving through landscapes of extreme temperatures and impossible gravitational conditions. Their bodies weren't just enhanced, they were completely redesigned biological machines. Muscle structures showed impossible flexibility, neural interfaces that connected directly with advanced technological systems. Each frame revealed another layer of human engineering. These weren't just soldiers, they were living weapons designed to survive and conquer the most challenging environments imaginable. Their training simulations demonstrated strategic thinking that went beyond traditional military preparation. One sequence showed a group of soldiers adapting to a planet with toxic atmospheric conditions. Within minutes, their biological systems reconfigured themselves. Respiratory structures transformed, filtering poison into breathable oxygen. Skin layers shifted, becoming impermeable to dangerous radiation and chemical compounds. J1 noticed something remarkable. The soldiers weren't just physically adapting, they were learning and evolving in real time. Each challenge became an opportunity for biological improvement. Their technological implants worked seamlessly with their organic systems, creating a perfect fusion of machine and living organism. The training simulations revealed complex psychological conditioning. These warriors were programmed to make strategic decisions with lightning-fast computational precision. Emotional responses were carefully managed, allowing them to operate in high-stress environments without losing operational effectiveness. Hyunki analyzed the neural interface data. The soldiers could process information thousands of times faster than normal human beings. Their brains had been redesigned to function like advanced quantum computers, capable of making complex calculations in microseconds. They transformed themselves, Sujin whispered, not as a weapon, but as a solution to survival. The recordings showed planetary environments that would challenge imagination. Gravity wells that could crush ordinary beings, radiation levels that would destroy cellular structures, atmospheric conditions that defied conventional biological limitations. And yet, these human soldiers moved through them like they were walking through a calm garden. One particularly striking sequence demonstrated their ability to communicate without traditional language. Neural networks allowed instantaneous information transfer, thoughts and strategies shared faster than spoken words. A single team could function like a single, unified intelligence. Ji-hoon noticed something else. These weren't just military units. They were scientific explorers, biological pioneers who had decided to redesign themselves to explore and understand the universe. Their modifications weren't just about combat, they were about expanding the very definition of human potential. The team worked silently, each processing the incredible information. They were looking at a civilization that had chosen to take control of its own evolutionary path. No longer bound by biological limitations, these humans had become something more than their original form. Technological implants weren't just additions to their bodies, they were integral parts of their biological structure. Weapons systems, communication networks, environmental adaptation mechanisms, all were seamlessly integrated into their very being. One recording showed a soldier surviving in an environment with temperatures that could melt standard metal structures. Their body became a living shield, internal systems regulating temperature with impossible precision. They weren't just protecting themselves, they were transforming their entire biological system to become part of the environment. J1 understood the profound implications. This wasn't just advanced technology. This was a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to be alive. These humans had transformed themselves into living, breathing solutions to the challenges of universal exploration. As the final sequences played out, a sense of both admiration and slight fear filled the research chamber. They were witnessing the story of a species that had refused to accept biological limitations, a civilization that had chosen to engineer its own future. The holographic display slowly faded, leaving behind a sense of wonder and unspoken questions. What had happened to these remarkable beings? Where had they gone? And more importantly, could they still exist somewhere in the vast universe? Moon-ji watched her colleagues carefully, studying their reactions to the remarkable discoveries. The human super-soldier ruins were more than just a technological marvel, they were a psychological puzzle that challenged everything the research team believed about intelligence and adaptation. J1 seemed most affected. His hands trembled slightly when examining the recovered data fragments, his professional composure slowly crumbling under the weight of their discovery. The human super-soldiers represented something beyond scientific curiosity, they were a testament to biological potential that defied conventional understanding. During their evening research meeting, an unusual silence filled the analysis chamber. Each team member processed the information differently. Hyunki kept reviewing neural interface data, his young face a mixture of excitement and deep contemplation. Sujin sketched complex diagrams, her mind racing with the implications of such advanced biological engineering. The psychological impact was profound. These weren't just technological artifacts, they were evidence of a species that had fundamentally reimagined its own existence. The human super soldiers had transformed themselves from biological limitations into living, adaptive systems capable of surviving impossible conditions. Eun-ji noticed how the discovery was changing her colleagues. Their conversations became more philosophical. They spoke less about scientific data and more about the fundamental questions of existence. What does it mean to be alive? How far can biological systems be transformed? Where do we draw the line between technology and living organisms? Jae-won shared a particularly striking observation during their evening discussion. They didn't just modify their bodies, he said, his voice quiet but intense. They redesigned their entire understanding of survival. The team's sleeping quarters became spaces of intense discussion. Late into the night, they would debate the ethical and philosophical implications of what they had discovered. The human super soldiers represented a radical approach to evolution, a deliberate, engineered path of biological transformation. Hyun-ki became especially fascinated by their neural networks. The way these enhanced humans could share information, think collectively, and adapt instantaneously challenged everything they understood about individual consciousness. It was like discovering an entirely new form of intelligence. Soo-jin's research revealed something even more intriguing. The super soldiers weren't just physically enhanced, their psychological structures had been carefully engineered. Emotional responses, decision-making processes, stress management, all had been refined into incredibly efficient systems. One recovered recording showed a team of super soldiers solving a complex environmental challenge. Their collective problem-solving happened so seamlessly it almost looked like a single intelligence operating through multiple bodies. Individual ego seemed to have been replaced by a collective consciousness focused entirely on survival and mission completion. The psychological strain on the research team became increasingly evident. They were no longer just scientists, they had become witnesses to a radical reimagining of biological potential. Each discovery challenged their fundamental understanding of life, technology, and human capability. Eun-ji documented everything. The changing emotional states, the philosophical debates, the subtle shifts in perception. This wasn't just a scientific expedition anymore. It was a profound psychological journey that was transforming the researchers themselves. During one late-night conversation, Jae-won posed a question that would haunt the entire team: what would we become if we followed their path of biological engineering? The human super soldier ruins were more than a historical discovery. They were a mirror reflecting the potential of intelligent life, a testament to what could happen when a species decides to take complete control of its own evolutionary trajectory. As days passed, the psychological impact became more pronounced. The team's perspective shifted. They were no longer just observers of an ancient civilization. They had become participants in a profound philosophical exploration of biological potential. The final psychological assessment would be challenging to write. How does one document the emotional and intellectual transformation triggered by discovering a civilization that had completely redefined the boundaries of biological existence? For Eun-ji, it was becoming clear that their discovery was about more than understanding an ancient technological marvel. It was about understanding the very nature of adaptation, intelligence, and the endless potential of life itself. Sungmin stood at the edge of the excavation site, watching the planet's twin suns set across the horizon. The research vessel Celestial Explorer waited silently above, ready to carry their incredible discovery back to the Galactic Research Center. The team had spent weeks analyzing every fragment, every piece of data recovered from the human super soldier ruins. What began as a routine archaeological expedition had transformed into something far more profound, a window into a civilization that had completely redefined the boundaries of biological existence. Jae-won compiled the final report, his fingers moving carefully across the holographic interface. Each line of documentation represented months of intense research, countless hours of analysis, and a discovery that would reshape scientific understanding for generations. The fundamental question remained: what happened to these remarkable humans? The ruins suggested a civilization at the peak of its technological evolution, yet there was no trace of their ultimate fate. Had they moved to another part of the galaxy? Had they transformed themselves beyond recognition? Or had they simply disappeared? Hyunki's final analysis revealed something extraordinary. The technological systems they had discovered were not just advanced, they were alive in a way that challenged traditional definitions of technology and biology. The super soldiers had created systems that could adapt, learn, and evolve independently. Sujin's research highlighted the most remarkable aspect of their discovery. These humans hadn't just modified themselves, they had become something entirely new. Living technologies that could survive in environments that would kill ordinary biological systems. Beings that could transform themselves as easily as breathing. The team's psychological specialist, Eunji, noted the profound emotional impact of their discovery. Each team member had been fundamentally changed by what they had learned. They were no longer just observers of an ancient civilization, they had become witnesses to a radical reimagining of biological potential. During their final meeting, Jae-won shared a remarkable observation. They didn't see themselves as soldiers, he explained. They were explorers. Biological pioneers who had chosen to transform themselves to understand and survive the universe. The recovered data suggested these super soldiers were part of a larger mission. Not just to fight or survive, but to expand the very understanding of what life could be. They had transformed themselves into living solutions to the challenges of universal exploration. Sungmin looked at the carefully preserved artifacts. Each piece told a story of incredible innovation. Neural interfaces that could process information faster than traditional computers. Biological systems that could adapt to impossible environmental conditions. A complete reimagining of what it means to be alive. The final report would challenge everything the scientific community understood about biological evolution. These weren't just enhanced humans, they were a completely new form of intelligent life. Beings that had taken control of their own evolutionary path, transforming themselves into living technologies. As night fell on the mysterious planet, the research team prepared for their journey home. They carried with them more than just scientific data. They carried a profound understanding of biological potential, a glimpse into a civilization that had refused to accept the limitations of traditional existence. Hyunki made one final scan of the site. Something in the data suggested the possibility that these super soldiers might still exist somewhere in the vast universe. A civilization that had transformed itself so completely that it might be unrecognizable to traditional forms of life. The most haunting question remained unanswered. What would humanity become if it followed this path of biological engineering? The human super soldiers represented a radical approach to evolution, a deliberate, engineered transformation of biological potential. Sungmin watched as the first research containers were sealed, preserving the remarkable artifacts. Each piece was a testament to human innovation, a reminder of the incredible potential of intelligent life to transform and adapt. As the celestial explorer prepared for departure, a sense of both excitement and uncertainty filled the research team. They were returning home with more than just scientific discoveries. They were returning with a fundamental challenge to everything humanity understood about its own potential. The mysterious planet slowly disappeared from view, holding its secrets close. But the story of the human super soldiers was just beginning, a story that would reshape scientific understanding for generations to come.